Hey Vic Nerds, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be going through cozy fall reads. And you've seen them, they're everywhere. Your feed is full of them. So we're just going to jump right on the bandwagon and I am going to tell you my picks, what are going to be on my TBR for the cozy fall season. And then also give you some recommendations, books that I've read, books that I've seen that you may want to put on your TBR. Just to be clear, this is my cozy fall recommendations. This is not my spooky Halloween list. I am still working on the final touches of my curated list that I will be coming out with shortly, so keep your eye out for that. So today is just those cozy fall vibes, and we've got three categories that we are going to be talking about today. So we've got first the cozy romance. We're talking Hallmark movie with a cup of cider or a nice pumpkin spice latte. We're talking happy endings, squashy chairs, candles burning, fireplaces, those type of cozy reads. Our next category is going to be witchy vibes. I know a lot of us love to read books kind of not spooky, not horror, but kind of witchy fun, the autumnal witchy type books. So I've got a couple of those. And then we have our dark academia, perfect season to read those types of books, gothic, dark, forbidden romance, maybe a little bit. So I've got a couple of those recommendations as well. So to start off, we are going to be talking about cozy Hallmark movie reads, is what I'm going to call this section. So to start off, we have Falling in Love. That's INN. I do have my computer on my lap, so I will be looking down just in case I don't seem to be speaking to you and speaking down to my lap. I do have my laptop so that I can give you very correct information. This is a lot of books and I don't have a lot of memory. So we are going to be doing this with my laptop. So this one is called Falling in Love, INN. This is by Erin Brascombe. And oh my gosh, this looks so cute, you guys. So basically what we have is we have Beth, and she is a struggling romance author. And she is trying to figure out what to do with her life after the tragic loss of her family. And she can't write anything. She's lost her way. Who wouldn't? And she ends up stranded by the side of a road in a place called Freedom Valley, New Hampshire. And of course, we have our strikingly hot, green eyed, bearded, flannel wearing innkeeper who rescues her. Oh, Hallmark. Evan, a former Marine who just took over his family's inn after the sudden loss of his father, is struggling to keep the inn afloat. Running out of money, Beth agrees to help Evan run the inn in exchange for room and board, but has no intention of staying too long and no intention of letting down the barriers to her heart. But there is something about Beth that makes Evan believe that he can be the man to give her the love she deserves. The more emotional walls Beth tries to put up, the harder Evan works to tear them down, using everything he can, including a pair of puppies he finds abandoned on the side of the road. Will Evan be able to convince Beth to take a second chance on love? Oh, does that not sound so cute? Hallmark's calling. They want their movie rights. Oh my gosh, this sounds so adorable. So this is Falling in Love by Erin Brascombe. Next, we have The City Baker's Guide to Country Living. This is by Louise Miller. And this is about a big city baker who discovers the true meaning of home and that sometimes the best things are found when you didn't even know you were looking. So we have Olivia. She is a pastry chef extraordinaire for an exclusive Boston dinner club. And she ends up setting her dinner club on fire and escapes to the most comforting place she can think of, the idyllic town of Guthrie, Vermont, home of Bag Bomb. Stuff that comes in the green jar. You guys know what Bag Bomb is. The country's longest running contra dance, and her best friend Hannah. But the getaway turns into something more lasting when Margaret, the cantankerous sweater set wearing owner of the Sugar Maple Inn, offers Livy a job. Broke and knowing that her days are numbered at the club, Livy accepts. Livy moves with her larger than life, uber enthusiastic dog Salty into a sugar house on the inn's property and begins creating mouth-watering desserts for the residents of Guthrie. She soon uncovers the real reason that she has been hired by Margaret. Margaret wants to reclaim the inn's blue ribbon status at the annual county fair's apple pie contest. So we have a apple pie contest, we have a fragrant, super cute country kitchen, we have banjos, fiddles, barns, the crisp scent of an orchard just outside the front door. And all of a sudden, Livy finds herself immersed in this small town life. And then, of course, we have Martin McCracken, a Guthrie native who has returned from Seattle to tend to his ailing father. And Livy and Martin come to understand that they may not be so alone in this small town. But then another new arrival takes the community by surprise, and Livy must decide whether to do what she does best and flee, or stay and finally discover what it means to belong. So, oh my gosh, do we have all the vibes or what? Apple orchards, small town, country living, an apple pie contest, a baker. I mean, it's all there. This is just giving me a Hallmark and cup of apple cider if there ever was. So this is The City Baker's Guide to Country Living by Louise Miller. Okay, so next we have Pumpkin Everything by Beth Labonte. Labonte? Oh, I'm probably not saying that right. Sorry. Okay, so this just sounds super cute. Now, remember I told you about how these books are cozy fall Hallmark movie. Okay, so this actually is a Hallmark movie. So this book was adapted into a Hallmark Channel movie. Okay, so we have Amy, and she just called off her fall wedding. She is a horror novel writer. She is left with a broken heart, a mega case of writing block, and now a serious aversion to all things pumpkin spice. She is sick of it. But she receives news that her grandfather has broken his wrist driving through a Dunkin' Donuts, not the drive-through, like he drove his car into a Dunkin' Donuts and broke his wrist in her hometown of Autumnboro, New Hampshire. Stop it. So now she has no choice but to go back to her hometown of Autumnboro, New Hampshire, to help her grandpa make sure that he gets back on his feet. She doesn't want him to go into assisted living because then her childhood home will go back on the market. And of course, she doesn't want that to happen. So She goes back to her childhood hometown. And if there is anything that Amy dislikes more than pumpkin spice anything, it is a reunion with her childhood best friend, first love, and now enemy, Kit Parker. The whole reason that she skipped town in the first place, but now they have to reconnect as she is back in her hometown. And will this be a second chance for them? A second chance at love? Of course it will, because this is a Hallmark movie. This is Pumpkin Everything by Beth Labonte. Labonte. Not sure on that. Anyway, oh my gosh, this is one that you need to sit down and read in your squashy chair with a pumpkin spice latte because it is called Pumpkin Everything. The next one we have is The Pumpkin Spice Spell by Erin Branscombe. And this one I actually have read. And if cozy apple cider, squashy chair, fireplace, a Hallmark movie had a name, it would be this book. It is like the epitome of small town, cozy fall everything. I actually got a ARC of this book. It just came out yesterday. And I absolutely loved it. This was the most cuddlebug book, all the fall vibes, everything you need in a small town cozy romance book. It's in this book. So basically, we have Willa. She is a bookstore owner slash cafe owner. She has a bookstore that sells homemade pastries and coffee and homemade apple cider, and of course, all the things wonderful and the things that we love about fall. And she has kind of a meddling, witchy mom. And they live in this very small town of Wisteria Cove. So they live on the sea. And a lot of their men folk go out to sea and fish. They're fishermen. And her dad and her dad's best friend were lost at sea several years back. And ever since then, she has kind of been lost a little bit, and she's kind of been struggling a little bit because her best friend was her dad's best friend's dad, if that makes sense. So her dad and her best friend's dad were both lost at sea, and her best friend was our main character guy, whose name is Tate, and his dad was also lost at sea at the same time. And Tate ends up leaving Wisteria Cove after this tragedy happens to try and find himself, to try and just gain his bearings, to try and just figure it out. This tragedy has really affected him and he's heartbroken. And so he leaves Wisteria Cove. And that really upset Willa. It broke her heart. She was devastated. Well, 2 years later, and now Tate's back. And he is looking entirely too hot in flannel for her. And she has just put up all of these walls around her heart. She is not going to be taken down that road again. She is going to protect her heart. She is going to protect herself. And she is not going to just slip easily right back into that best friend role, no matter what Tate does or says. And the whole town, her mom, her sisters, everybody in this small town is doing everything they can to get them together. It's so cute and so funny. And there's just matchmaking galore going on in this. And we have not only Willa's point of view, but we have Tate's point of view. So there's a dual point of view in this book. and it is it is so cute. There's a cat. There's it gives me practical magic vibes because there's a little bit of witchiness in it, but there's no like witches. It's just kind of like this witchy vibe that you get, but there's no actual magic except that the small town itself is just so magical. I mean, there's festivals, there's pumpkin carving, there's literally everything you can think of about autumn and cozy fall. I mean, think practical magic meets the good witch meets like every Hallmark movie set in fall. Like it's all here in this book. It was so cute and so cozy, and it's second chance romance, small town rom com. I mean, it was all in this book. It was excellent. I highly recommend. So, this is The Pumpkin Spice Spell by Erin Branscombe. Next, we have Morning Wood. Oh, this is so cute. By Heather Oregon. No, I'm sorry. Heather Orgeron. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm totally saying that name wrong. Orgeron? Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. Anyway, I actually got this book at a book convention, and the front was so cute that I had to get it. I have not read this, but this is on my TBR for fall. And she works at Daigle Family Funeral Services. Don't be caught dead anyplace else. um, anyway, so basically, she has a one night stand with this guy named Wyatt. She gets pregnant, doesn't tell him, and then spends 2 years avoiding him. Um, it was only meant to be a good time, but it was a teensy tiny little mistake that now she has a daughter. Um, and so now the chapel slash funeral home where she works needs some work done. They're having some issues, so they need to hire a contractor. And so guess who pulls up in his pickup truck and tight blue jeans as their contractor, but Wyatt, her one night stand and father to her daughter. Um anyway, but so here he is, and he's just as charming and hot and wonderful as she remembers him. And now her daughter loves him. Her parents are eating out of the palm of his hand, and it says, "My best friend is shipping us like we're some celebrity couple." Thankfully, working in the death industry, I've mastered the skill of compartmentalization. Keeping my growing feelings tucked away should be a piece of cake, except seeing him every day definitely throws a wrench in that plan. Before I know it, we're trading favors for dates, and as much as I don't want to admit it, the feelings for him I thought were dead and buried take root and are growing into something that looks a lot like love. This looks so cute. Anyway, she works at a funeral home. So anyway, this is going on my TBR list to be read as part of my cozy reads. And last in our cozy Hallmark reads category, we have For Better or Hearse by Ava Hunter. And this one I am going to read as part of my cozy TBR. So this is about this is about Ash, and she has sworn off love after a disastrous breakup, and she is now a death doula. I don't know exactly what that means. I guess it's someone who goes and instead of helping bring people into the world, she helps people exit out of the world as a death doula. Anyway, So her new client, Augustus Fox, asks her to accompany him on an all expenses paid trip to mend family ties and fulfill last wishes. And so she agrees and she's going to go on this family trip for her new client. There is just one nail in her coffin: Nathaniel, her client's absurdly gorgeous, grumpy doctor of a grandson who is along for the trip. And so basically, this is about these two. They're on this trip to try and mend these family ties for her client, and these two do not get along at all. But as part of the client's wanting to mend these family ties as part of his last wishes, and as her job as the death doula, she and Nathaniel decide that they are going to keep the peace. They are going to kind of have this mutual, I don't know, this kind of tenuous truce. And they're not going to argue. They're not going to, be enemies, because this is his last wishes. And so they are going to make this as painless as possible for him. And then, because they have this tenuous truce, all of a sudden they start to get to know each other, and then this mutual attraction starts to happen, and now they're on this vacation, and it says, with every tropical misadventure and steamy late night, Ash realizes that there's more to Nathaniel than his barbed banter and uptight facade. Suddenly, love seems a lot more complicated than death. So anyway, that's For Better or Hearse by Ava Hunter. Okay, moving on to our next category. Holy cow, this is going to be a long video. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try and go faster. Okay, moving on to our next category, we have witchy vibes. I know that this is kind of the time of year that everyone likes to bring in the witchy vibes for Cozy Fall Reads. So I have some recommendations and then some that are also going on in my TBR. So we're going to start with The Spell Shop. This is by Sarah Beth Durst, and I have not read this. This is one that is going on my TBR for my Cozy Fall Reads. And apparently, this is about a woman who works in a library, the Great Library of Asilium. She has a magically sentient spider plant. And she has spent most of her life watching out for all of the most precious spell books, which are in this library. But then a revolution happens, the library goes up in flames, and she and her spider plant flee with as many spell books as she can to try and preserve them. And then she heads to her childhood home, which is an island. She takes refuge there. And her very handsome neighbor keeps showing up, I guess, to make sure that she's okay and to help her fix up her new home. I guess then she tries to find a job because she needs the money. And oh, cute. Okay, so the bakery in town needs jam. And so she finds an old recipe book that her parents left her, a little bit of illegal magic, and her cottage garden is soon covered in ripe berries. But magic can do more than make life sweeter. So she risks the consequences of using unsanctioned spells and opens the island's first ever, much needed secret spell shop. So, okay, it says the spell shop will heal your heart and feed your soul. Okay, this sounds super cute. I'm so excited for this. So this is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, and this is on my TBR for my Cozy Fall Reads. Okay, the next kind of witchy vibe book that I have, this one I have read. I do recommend that you read this as part of your Cozy Fall Reads. This is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. This is actually part of a series. The first 3 books are out. I know that she's working on the 4th one right now. I love these books, okay? I have laughed out loud. These books are hysterical. They are witty. They have dry humor that I love. They are sarcastic. There's a little bit of romance, but it is very slow burn. Um, it is absolutely hysterical. So we have Evie, and she's down on her luck. She needs a job. Look, we've all been there, okay? She's trying to take care of her family. Her father's sick. She's taking care of her little sister. Her mother is gone, and she's just trying to support her family, and she needs a job. And all of the jobs that she's ever had, she's a little clumsy. She's a little unique, our Evie, and it just hasn't worked out for her. So she's looking for a job, and she's out in the forest one lovely evening and finds an injured man and helps him. And this injured man happens to be somebody who's looking for an assistant, as is mentioned in just passing conversation, as she is trying to help heal him and put a band-aid on his wound. And she's like, yo, I'm looking for a job. If you need some help, I can help. I'm a great helper. I'm a great assistant. And so he decides to hire her as his assistant and takes her back to his castle, where she finds out that he is actually the villain. That's like his name, the villain. It's absolutely so cute. She builds this world, this place called Renadon, and he is the villain. And she is learning how to be his assistant, and she is just cute and sassy as can be, kind of clumsy, but she thinks that her boss is super hot. And it is a multiple point of view, and so we do kind of get all sides of the story. And so the villain is really just trying to be the best villain that he can in the workplace. And it's kind of like The Office meets I don't even know, like a fairy tale. It's so fun and so cute. You will laugh out loud. This is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. Okay, the next one I have for you, I'm going to put a picture of the actual cover up here. I actually did a rebind on it, so this is my binding of this book. This is called Between. It's called Between by L.L. Starling. I would get in my car and I would drive places I didn't need to go. I would just drive around to places so that I could listen to this book. I love this book so much. It's a chonker. Look, you guys, look at how thick this book is. It is a chonker of a book, but this is the most unique book I have ever read, and I'll tell you why. It is a dual point of view, but the first half of the book is Sasha's point of view, who is our female main character. The second half of the book is the exact same story, only told from Lauren's point of view, who is our male main character. So we have a full story from Sasha, and then we have the story again told from Lauren's point of view. It is so good. It is so amazing. So I listened to this book on audio, and I will absolutely 100% recommend that you listen to this book on audio, and I'll tell you why. Because the narrator who does Lorne is hands down one of the best male narrators that I have ever listened to. His voice And I found this out later because now I am part of the Facebook group, between Facebook group, where all of us crazy weird fans go and talk to each other about the book. Come to find out later that the narrator for Lorne is actually called the, what do they call him? The just out of the towels, just out of the dryer, warm towels voice is what they call him. The cozy warm towel dryer voice guy, or something like that. He is literally so awesome to listen to. His voice is amazing. Anyway, I highly recommend listening to the audio. Let me tell you what this book is about. Finally, good grief. Okay, so this is a modern fairy tale for the discerning deviant. So this is about Sasha. She is a kindergarten teacher, and she has just felt unfulfilled most of her life. She goes from place to place to place to place. She moves, she wanders around, and she's always constantly looking for something. And she doesn't know what it is, but there's just this voice, this in the back of her mind that's always just saying, this isn't it, keep moving, we'll find it. This isn't it, keep moving on. And so she just keeps wandering because she's looking for something. And so she decides to take this temporary position as a substitute teacher at this small town, Old Middleton. Old Middleton is the name of this town, and she has taken this temporary position in Old Middleton as a substitute kindergarten teacher. And so her and her best friend, whom I love her best friend, Lila, she and her best friend move her to Old Middleton so that she can take this job. So while in Old Middleton, she meets a whole slew of wonderful people, wonderful characters. This L.L. Starling is one of the best writers. She does such great character development. I love her writing style. Her humor and her wit are exactly what I love. Just dry, sarcastic, I love it so much. And anyway, so Sasha and her friend Lila are in Old Middleton, and they end up meeting this group of women who we find out later are the witches of Old Middleton. Their job in Old Middleton is to guard this arch, this doorway, basically, that leads to Otherworld. And that is their job. And it's been passed, this job has been passed down through generations. Nothing's ever happened in this arch. No one's ever gone through or come in or nothing. But that is what their job has always been. And it's been passed down from witch to witch to witch, realizing that when she dreams, she is taken into Otherworld. And anyway, that's where she meets Lorne. Lorne is the king of one of the kingdoms in Otherworld. And so he meets her in her dreams, and she ends up completing this task in her dreams. And anyway, you have to read it. So the first half of this book is all her point of view, where she's dreaming, she's running from monsters, she's meeting the witches, she's learning about Old Middleton, she's learning about the art, she's meeting Lorne, she's going back and forth to Otherworld, she's kind of building this relationship with him, figuring out who he is and what he does. And then the second half of this book is Lorne's point of view, where he's being pulled from his castle and going and seeing her and meeting her and then forming this relationship and figuring out who she is and why is, she being pulled into other world and what does this mean. And anyway, this whole book is absolutely amazing. It is very witchy. It is perfect for cozy fall vibes. And I have talked way too long about it, but I highly recommend it. This is Between by L.L. Starling. Bewitched by Thalassa. Laura Thalassa, Bewitched #1. I have that on my TBR. That's a witchy book that I want to read. I have Sweets and Sycamores by Adrienne Nix. That is a witchy book that I want to read. It's Good Witch meets Gilmore Girls with K-drama vibes. I'm super excited about that one. That sounds really good. We have a witch that's trying to master her witchy powers, but she's got lack of control, and so she is sent away to learn how to use her power, or she is going to be kicked out of her coven. So she gets sent away to, where does she get sent to? It doesn't say where she gets sent to. Oh, Sycamore Falls. There's a baker there, Dominic, who runs a baker in Sycamore Falls, and his life is upended by this clumsy witch, and they end up getting together and falling in love. So anyway, it just sounds so cute. So that is on my TBR. We have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. This one has been on everybody's cozy TBR list. That everybody talks about this book, so I'm super excited to read it. I think everybody knows what it's about. Witches can't be around each other, or their power gets to be too great. And so witches are told to stay away from each other. We have our witch Mika, who is asked to go and be a teacher or a mentor to these 3 young witches. And it's all about her and her adventures of teaching these 3 young witches. And of course, being together with more witches is taboo, and she's not supposed to do that. And so anyway, then we have The Haunting of Hecate Cavendish. This is by Paula Braxton. It takes place in England, 1881. We have Hecate, who is a librarian for this, for the Cathedral House Chained Library. Wisdom that's been guarded over the centuries, mysteries and stories that are locked in this library, and she's very excited to be the new assistant librarian to this. However, the most prized artifact is the medieval world map, which hangs next to Hecate's desk. And then it's got mythical creatures, it's got lost souls that haunt this cathedral, and it's all about her trying to help the lost souls of the cathedrals, about these mythical creatures, and about her being the assistant librarian to this library. So I'm very excited for that. That's The Haunting of Hecate Cavendish. X-Hex by Erin Sterling. That's also on everybody's cozy fall read TBR list. This one's a very popular one. I know that there is a sequel to this one as well. This one is about Vivian. She broke up with her boyfriend and so put a hex on him. She's a witch. It sounds like she was drunk, didn't think it was going to work, and just kind of passed it off as a oops moment. But then the ex-boyfriend comes back into town, apparently because he's a descendant of the town's ancestors. He has to come back and recharge the town's ley lines, but everything goes wrong. Nothing goes right, calamity after calamity, and she realizes that the hex that she put on him actually worked. And so now they have to get together to try and figure out how to break this hex that she's accidentally put on him. It sounds super cute, very witchy. Okay, our last category that we have is dark academia. I love me some dark academia, and this is the perfect time to read dark academia. So let's get into it. Is Gothicana, same author by Runix. She does dark academia so good. It's very Gothicana. I have read this one, and so this is one I'm recommending to you. Is very forbidden romance, very taboo, very dark, very, there's mystery, there's murder, there's a little bit of romance, but it doesn't go crazy. There's supernatural. It's very, I know that this is, you either love it or you hate it. I happen to love it. I really liked this book. But I know that there's a lot of people out there, a lot of reviewers have not liked it. They didn't like the writing style. They thought that it was kind of weird and didn't really get into it. So her writing style is different, but I loved it. Give me all the gothic, dark, spooky academia, and I love it. So Enigma is a Hades and Persephone dark academia kind of twist. We have Salem, who is fascinated with death. She gets accepted to Mortimer University, but she doesn't actually want to go there to learn anything. She is investigating her older sister's death, and she discovers that her sister is not the only one to have gone missing under mysterious circumstances at Mortimer. And so she starts investigating. She's trying to figure out what's going on at this very dark, spooky castle. Casimir Vanderwall is a teaching assistant at Mortimer. He's also a very mysterious artist, and he has a ravenous appetite for Salem, for this beautiful girl who seems determined to risk her life and investigate what is going on at this university. So it says Enigma is a sensual epic love story for those who also crave the frightful, the puzzling, the suspenseful, the dangerous, and the dark. So this is very much in her wheelhouse. This is everything that I loved about Gothicana. I'm very excited to read Enigma, so this is definitely going on my TBR for my cozy dark academia reads. Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. She has a lot of really popular books, and so I am super excited to read this. This will be my first book by her. This is about a girl whose mom died of a mysterious illness, and so she's trying to research and figure out what this is. She gets accepted to Dracadia University, where they study this illness, and so she goes there to try and study. She is paired up with a pathologist. Okay, I see. He works in the lab. He's known as Dr. Death. He's also her professor. And so they're trying to investigate and study this illness. Apparently, it is a parasite, and so this is about them and their forbidden love. It sounds like, and it sounds like this is very dark, very kind of gothic academia. So I'm super excited to get into this. I've heard a lot of really good reviews about this, so I'm very excited. And then the last one that we will talk about for dark academia is Neverthorn. This is by Shannon Mayer. I have read this book, so this is one of my recommendations for you. She is a thief, and she's really, really good at it. And she uses kind of she uses ruins, she uses magic, but she uses kind of a butchered version than she learned in school, because what she learned in school, she didn't do very well. She was a terrible student in school. She went to school at Neverthorn, but she was kicked out because she was really bad at it. And all the ruins that they tried to teach her, she could never get them to work. She knew she had magic, but she could never get the ruins to work for her. The magic never flowed. And so she ended up getting kicked out, and she ended up kind of shorthanding and butchering the ruins so that they worked for her. And then she became a thief. And so she stole artifacts. She did whatever she could, and stole whatever she could to live on the streets. And eventually, she's an orphan and was in the foster system, and so she eventually opened up a kind of foster home, foster care for other kids, so that she could take care of them, so that they wouldn't end up living homeless like she did. And so she takes care of this girl, who is her sister, basically her little sister, even though they're not, sisters by blood. She has taken care of her for most of her life. And so the book starts out, and she is on this job stealing this relic. It's a big payout, and so she's doing this because she needs the money. And she's captured by basically the supernatural police, basically. And they end up taking her back to Neverthorn. And they tell her that she has to come back to Neverthorn because the guardian of the veil, basically, that separates the human world from the magical world, the guardian of this veil has been killed by the villain. The villain is basically the Voldemort of this world. And Voldemort has killed the guardian of the veil. He's dead. They need every hand on deck to keep the veil up so that their magic is not discovered. And they need everybody that has any magical ability to come and be prepared for this war that they're going to have happen, because this bad guy is gaining a lot of power, and he's going to come for all the magical people. And so they need everybody they can. And so her and a handful of others who were also kicked out of Neverthorn because they were so bad at magic, they end up coming together and being put in a special house. It's very Hogwarts-esque, very Harry Potter-esque, where there's a school, there's houses inside the school that you're assigned to. And so these older students who have been kicked out before because they're so terrible at magic, they come back to Neverthorn. They get put in a special house. They're taught by special teachers trying desperately to teach them how to use their magic, and they just can't. They can't get the magic to work for them. And anyway, they discovered that it's because they've had blocks put on their magic. And so it's them eventually figuring out that they're very powerful and they have very powerful magic once they figure out how they can take the blocks off. And anyway, it's this girl, and she's extremely powerful, and she is prophesied to be the one that's going to take down this bad guy. And then it's a love story between her and the one of the professors at this school. So we kind of have this forbidden romance aspect of it. Anyway, it's really good. It's got a raccoon familiar in it. She has a familiar that's a raccoon, and he's hysterical. He talks, and anyway, it's really good. I highly recommend this book. So dark academia, very reminiscent kind of Harry Potter. So I would put this on your cozy fall TBR list. Okay, you guys, if you are still here in this video, kudos to you. You must really love to read, and I want you as part of my book community because that was long. So if you are still here, then leave me a pumpkin emoji down in the comments and let me know what you are going to be reading this cozy fall season. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to be part of my book community. I would love to get more people that are interested in this type of content. I am a brand new baby channel and am just trying to get a community together of like-minded people. So whatever, if you want to join my channel, then I would love that. That's always a joy and always a thrill when I see people, like-minded people that like my videos and that want to be part of my channel. So that would be super appreciated. Also, don't forget, I will be coming out with a Halloween spooky horror / list of books for you guys. That is coming up, so watch for that. Otherwise, I am so glad you joined me for this super long video, and I hope you guys got some great recommendations for your cozy TBR, and I will see you next time. Bye.